Warning: the following views that are expressed on the Dr. Quack house calls that are expressed by the guests are not necessarily the views of this show. Strong language, partial nudity, violence may occur. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the House Calls. I'm Dr. Quack, and tonight I have a special guest for you. I have a man who has definitely been around the promo world. You can go to any place. You will probably find this man. Also, one half owner of VPW. Ladies and gentlemen, Dante Black.
Well, thank you for having me here tonight. It is an honor.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. God, we got everybody coming in here. Look, comments galore. Lifeblood.
Hey, Elijah McFly, my brother.
We got a lot here. I want to let you start off here because a lot of people may not know you. What got you started into this? And you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
So what actually got me started into this was I did backyard wrestling and for quite some time, for about 10 years. Then I made my own channel that I did in Nampa called XHMCW, which stood for Extreme Hardcore Mayhem Championship Wrestling. And then before that, there was a place that used to be open in Nampa, and it was called Nampa Pro Wrestling, where I did a couple of years after I got done training on my wrestling license, which I'll have to find it packed away. It's the very first title I ever won from an actual wrestling company. They let me keep the title because the person I beat it from actually retired. And then I moved to Oregon. And if you guys have watched a show on YouTube called ESW Extreme Showdown Wrestling or Extreme Shockwave Wrestling, there's actually someone who was a wrestler on there called Jax Amadeus. And he randomly, just one of the TikTok groups I was in, he sent a video and he's like, this is my new intro for my wrestling. And I was like, wait a minute, there's only one Jax Amadeus I know. Next thing you know, he calls me and he starts talking to me about a company called NRW, New Recruit Wrestling. That's how I started getting into promoing. And that happened about 2 years ago around February. So I've been doing this for a little bit over 2 years. And it started with that. And then I went on to FTW, Full Throttle Wrestling. And then not too long after Full Throttle Wrestling, I decided, why not create my own, see what I can do with it. See if I can get some people in there that could help me improve, get people that want to learn the aspects of the game of that we like to do, that we love to do every single day. And so I created VPW. Slowly started, and then I was doing storyline for quite some time. Didn't get introduced into competition promos until Foundation, Mr. Hollywood Haywood. He messaged me. He got told, or I'm trying to remember, I do believe it's by Dan Johnson about me. He messaged me. He asked if I want to be a part of Foundation. Debuted. Took a while for me to get off my feet. Lost about 6 matches in a row before I actually got my first W, which was an open shot challenge against Buckshot, who's now a good brother of mine also. But what really took me by storm, what really got me out there, is when I joined SWA, social media wrestling entertainment, and then also participating in the A-List Showcase Championship Tournament.
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to get into directly there, the A-List Showcase, because there was a lot of people who came into this tournament. I mean, going into it, were you feeling any kind of intimidation by some of the names that were involved?
Oh, definitely, because I've heard of him. And yes, I was Dante Rage. And then I had to change it to Dante Black. It was Rage because
we're going to get into that.
Yeah. It was Rage. So before I get into the A-List Showcase Tournament, I was Dante Rage because I don't know if you guys have heard of Ivan Rage. He used to wrestle in VOH.
Yep, definitely. Used to be a lot of places, including HSP. Yeah, I definitely remember.
Before he had his tragic accident, he was thinking about retiring, and he asked if I wanted to use the name Rage to continue his legacy. So I was going to do that, and then his accident happened, his hit and run, and his relatives asked me out of respect to not use that unless it's during VPW's honorable, basically our pay-per-view that we have in honor of Dave, which is called I'm trying to remember the name. We've had it differently 2 different years. It's the month of Rage, and it happens, starts on the date when he passed away, when his accident happened, and that particular pay-per-view is when I show up as Dante Rage. I have the permission.
There you go. Look, the miss is on there. Rage Fest.
I have permission from Dave's parents, Ivan Reed's parents, and his family to use that name. And he was really close to me. This is actually his birthday and when he passed in Viking runic symbols. So that's why it was Dante Rage. But the A-List Showcase Championship Tournament, I was nervous. Seeing the people that was in it just for the submission videos. I'm going in there, AJ Storm, DB Greatness, Vagabond, Don Krypton, Hodgson, Briggy, Stills. These are all people who I know have been doing this quite some time longer than I have. But it was an opportunity, and Hollywood Haywood, he helped me get in because he knew it was going to be an opportunity to get my name out there, to get the competition I needed to reach that next level. And the first match after I got through the qualifying rounds was Don Krypton. And this was like, a week or two after I had my bad skateboarding accident. Because if you go back and watch it, I'm actually in a sling during this promo. And I was nervous because Don Krypton's good, very good. And
I would definitely agree.
Getting past Don Krypton and then moving on, like the whole thing of a tournament was in the comments, everyone was doubting me, wanting, like, thinking, knowing I have what it takes, but could I really beat this person I'm facing? Could I be better than him? Or are they going to be the ones this time to send me home? And when I got to the finals versus DB Greatness, it was the same thing. And when I was announced the winner, I was on cloud 9 because it's not just like other tournaments where, oh, you have this one and then someone else has a chance to win it. Like, I'm the first ever A-list showcase champion. I have a title that I get to hold and keep for life. Like, my first accolade ever of having in the promo world for my career. And I represent it everywhere too. Like, if you've watched, like, after I won it, I represented it everywhere. And right now it's just packed because we just moved down from Oregon to Twin, so I have to get it unpacked. But I wear that title everywhere that I go.
That you do. Here, I got a couple questions for you. First off, this from Bones. Has your delivery always been strong, or did it take time to develop?
It took time to develop. I used to stutter a lot. I'd have to think about what I had to say. And then I just started just watching other people's promos, like your promos, Iceman Bobby Miller's, stills, and the way that they promote. And I just studied. Like, with me, I want feedback. I crave feedback. Other people, they think, like, even if it's negative, they let it get them down. With me, negative or positive feedback, it's going to help me hone my craft and improve. So I take everything and I soak it in. So it took a while for me to get my delivery. It didn't used to be as smooth or as powerful. I had a lot of trouble.
Now he speaks machine gun fast.
Yes, I do speak very fast, and that's because once I have something on my mind, I already know what I'm going to say after the word that comes out of my mouth, and it's also part of my ADHD. I just start going and going and going until my brain tells me to stop. Sometimes I can't slow down, and that's where I have, like, that Eminem flow or that rapper style flow. That's my brother right there. That's Darko, Danny Darko, one of my great friends that I met in Smoky Mountain Wrestling and is now a huge part of VPW.
There you go. Here we go. How do you feel about your time in the BWO BXT thus far?
I have actually enjoyed it. I was straight told up before I joined and got invited by Bobby Miller and talked about it by Bones that it was going to be tough. Because the way they come for your throat straight up. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't get my first win until actually the BXT tournament that I'm in right now. And that was against Harlem, Florida. But now the next one I face is Buckshot. Someone I've faced before, someone who's beaten me, and then someone I've also beaten before. That's another person who's became not just a friend, but like a brother. Like, with this promo game, I've created more friends and brothers than I did actually in, like, growing up or as a kid or in actual life. I've gained so many friends that, like, not just talk to me about the promo world, but check in on me, check in on my family, on my kids to see how we're doing.
Yeah. There we go. Let's see. Dante was asked to be picked apart on the After Dark network. EFED After Dark, that's a good topic there. How do you feel about that?
Like, that's true. Like, it was when I was in FTW, and I was asking people, what's the best way I can get the feedback that I want to? Because it was storyline feds, so we didn't really give you feedback. Right. So they just said, have After Dark picks. So I went to DJB, Phil Marshall, and I said, just tear apart a promo, take this promo and take it and tear it apart. And they did. They tore me apart. But unlike a lot of people that they saw when their promos get torn apart and they complain about it, I was just like, oh, sweet. Thanks for the feedback. I'll work on it. Like, I used to use a lot of effects that wouldn't make sense. That would make me sort of disappear. I used to always shoot in portrait. But now I always shoot in landscape because I learned very quickly the difference between portrait and landscape. You have more room to move around. You have that more background for the visual area. When you use green screen, in portrait and landscape, you can see more of what you want to do with the green screen in landscape. So After Dark, I know it's a complicated relationship with people, but
some are, yeah, some get very upset over it.
DJB, one of the mainstays of After Dark, was actually one of my mentors. Like, taught me a lot of what I needed to learn to get that more ruthless style. Same with Phil, same with Grant. So everyone in After Dark just wanted to help me out. Shady, everyone else, they just wanted to help me improve because they saw something in me.
Yeah, here we go. Let's see. You and Buckshot as a tag team versus you and DJB. That is from SNES.
Me and Buckshot as a tag team versus me and DJB. The thing is, me and DJB have talked about wanting to tag team for quite some time, mentor and protege together, but we never actually have. Me and Buckshot, we've tag teamed quite a few times, and the chemistry's there. We flow off each other. We know exactly what we're going to say after each other to make it so not only it makes sense, but it's still verbally jabbing at our opponents while still telling and compelling our story. And I feel like that'd be me and DJB as well, especially how good that me and him are acquainted with. So that's a hard one to choose. I like I said, I haven't been able to tag team with DJB, so I can't really choose.
Yeah, I'm going to get into this. I'm getting there. I'm letting him talk here, but now I'm going to get into it. Look, I got people popping up. Because thoughts on the 6-man tag at Verbal Violence. Let me clear that up for the people. That would be, Verbal Violence would be Sness, Elijah McFly, and a mystery opponent taking on Mayhem, Mr. Wallace, Young Gun, and Dante Black. Do you have any idea who the mystery opponent is?
With what I've seen around, I'm just going to guess it's Vega, especially with how well they have been with SNES. They've been pairing together. They've been teaming up quite a bit. So I'm just going to guess it's Vega. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. That's the first thing that comes to my teammates' minds. Wallace, don't forget the Mister and the last shooter. But
yeah, I mean, go ahead.
The one person who commented that, Elijah McFly.
Yes.
We have faced probably 12 times within the past 8 to 10 months. Constantly going back and forth. And it's became a point where, like, we're part of Lifeblood now. He's became someone who's like a brother to me, who actually, like, cares about him, and I care about him as well, and he cares about me. So, like, facing him, it's a little bit difficult. It's like that one certain person you don't want to face because you know it's going to be difficult to talk trash on them, even though it's like, crap. So this whole time, like, we knew we'd going to have to face again, but once it popped up, it was just like, dang, this has to happen once again. So we just have to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, 6-man tags are definitely different. I mean, especially because you're talking to vignette style where it's a lot of piecing together. You got to have somebody that's really a good editor in it. It's a definite, tough thing to do. But I want to talk about one other match with this because you've got Young Gun as a partner, and then you've got him as an opponent in Defiance. How does that work for you? Are you able to separate friendship from victory?
I mean, to me, I'm able to because it's two different places. WGP is on a separate world of Defiance. Defiance has separate roles in WGP. So it's the first time I've also teamed with Young Gun. It's funny if Young Gun, everyone thought the finals of the A-List Showcase Championship Tournament was going to be myself, Dante Black versus Young Gun. It's what everyone wanted to see. So the fact that we get to team up first before facing each other, it's sort of like we get to study from each other by teaming up with each other before actually going one-on-one in a match that we've both been wanting for almost a year.
Yeah, and now you've got it. I mean, that should be a really interesting fight there. I got to bring up one more, too, because this was brought up here in the comments. Foundation, you get to take on Mr. Bones. I like to call this one of the most controversial men in the promo world. How do you handle someone like this?
So I faced Bones once in WGP. And
how did that go?
So I ended up winning, but we both weren't really feeling up to par. We talked after it, Like I went to his inbox, said, "Hey, that was a great match," but we both really weren't up to par. He I do believe was sick, and I wasn't really feeling that very good under the weather. So we didn't really get what we wanted to from it, because we want to have that match where we can put in everything that we have, that 100%, to truly see what we can make. So I'm actually looking forward to this match, because I know there's a lot of controversy about what's going on with Bones, what's shady. I respect.
Oh, that whole thing. How did you feel about that match? Let's get into that.
So I was from the very start of the situation of when it happened in Foundation chat when Shady asked about BWO. And Bones said, well, it's a bunch of people who say, if you can handle a bunch of people saying, that word, and Shady popped off, only if you can handle with me saying it back. So that's how it first started. So I knew once that tournament was popping up, the Fuck Around Found Out tournament by El Guapo, Shady versus Bones, I was like, that's going to get heated. I respect Shady because he's helped me out. I respect Bones because there's no problems with me and him there. There's never been an issue. He's shown me respect. I've shown him respect. So I'm in the middle, and I see both aspects. I see aspects of Shady. I see aspects of Bones. And it's just a combustible situation, and it's going crazy right now.
And I asked this man here, Mr. Vagabond, this question. I'm going to ask you, should that match have been aired?
I don't think it should have.
Why?
Because of what was around it. Both went personal, and there's a point where if it gets too personal, people don't need to see it. I mean, they were both great promos, but like it was a double DQ if you like fully remember.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's also true. Like, and again, that's one of the owners of VPW, which we are part of SME. We are part of, we've been under that umbrella for quite some time now because they have helped us out to gain members and more viewerships for when we were, because we were a very small company at first. We had maybe 13 roster members, and now VPW has almost a roster of 60.
Yeah. People come out of the woodwork to compete. They love to compete there. But speaking of Vagabond, I'm going to talk about the final match here I got on this, and that's Fight Night. You are the Fight Night champion over there in the pen, Promo Entertainment. Yep. I mean, you're getting ready to take on the incendiary champion, Big Daddy Stump, and the former WGP champion, Vagabond. How do you prepare for this match? Because we've been told now that this is the first and only time that it's ever going to be a triple threat for that title.
So I faced Vagabond on countless occasions, and Vagabond will say this. He can say in his mind, because of the difference in the wins he has against me and I have against him, people will think that he has the upper hand. He's beaten me about 3 to 4 times. I've only beat him once, and that was the most previous encounter we've had, and that was up over in APF for the number one contendership for the Interpromotional Championship, which is held by Don Krypton. First time I beat him. Came close to beating him in Foundation for his title around Blueprint Christmas. Mm-hmm. I've never faced Big Daddy Stump. All I can get from him is that he's locked in a cell. He's a cellmate. So, but yeah, it's
3-1.
3-1. He has 2 over me. I have 1 over him. But Vagabond's also someone I see constantly, so I always watch because they try to come up with new stuff. So I try to study with it. So the way I went with this promo, you'll see, is very different than I usually go. There's some times where I have to reach into that certain book and pull out something new in certain occasions to sort of have that surprise factor.
Don't worry, I'm getting to the questions here. I see you guys putting them in. I don't want you to think I'm ignoring. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big match here, triple threat. This will be on tomorrow night, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, tomorrow night over there at the pen. But let me get to a couple of these questions here because I got Sness. He is blowing up today. Let's see. What title is your end-all, be-all goal in the promo? What title must you win before you hang up the mic?
I mean, I'd love to win the Foundation title, but the title that everyone seems to be going for, all the heavy hitters, I mean, you've seen like some, yes, are people think are disrespectful, like Byers. You've seen Iron Bison win it. You've seen Rob Roman win it. And that is the EWN World Heavyweight Championship. You've seen Dylan Mason win it. Some people who have been considered the very best of that time when they have that title. I mean, Phil Marshall has won that. So that has to be one title that before I hang up the boots, before I sit the mic down, I have to have my name edged in that list of people.
I doubt he will hang up his boots. Dante are training our partner to join the promo game. Okay, so we got a little bit of that.
Working with our partner. Won't give away much. All I'm gonna say is that their name's going to be Bartimus, and it's that for a certain reason. But when they finally show their faces on screen, they will be able to explain that.
Okay. Well, got a question for Dante. Who has always been your toughest opponent, or who has been your number? Who has had your number in the promo game?
So I'll answer both. My toughest opponent has honestly been DJB. I've never beat him, but every single time it's a 1 to 2 point difference. Like I get that close because he's been doing this for over a decade, over 10 years in this game. So just like knowing that he's my mentor, or he was my mentor, and I've broken that stage where I no longer am his protege. I can be called, Dante Black, the former protege of DJB. I've earned that respect. But the person who has my number, it's the one who commented the wow face. I get so close every single time, but SNES has had my number in the promo world. Me and him have faced off countless times.
He's a difficult one to prepare for, considering it's like a video game aspect versus your normal Renton and Raven.
It's never a huge difference in the scores. It's always close, but he's always just there. And it's always been in title opportunities. He beat me in a triple threat at Level Up. Then he beat me in the shot for the Battle of Mayhem versus WGP. And yes, I did beat Jason Ridian, but SNES is the one I have not beat. And then for my second defense for the PPA World Heavyweight Championship, I lost to SNES. And the triple threat to try and get it back, I also lost to SNES. So it's all been title opportunities with SNES that he's just that.
You guys are pretty much like 19 and 20 every time you're going for something. He's right there.
Basically.
Yeah. Here we go. Let me put this up here. Yeah, since you won it, now I want it. That's the Vagabond. It seems like another person you're going to be running into a lot.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about too, because I watched when that comment popped up, and he's talking about since I want the EWN World Heavyweight Championship, he wants that title. And I love facing Vagabond. I love it. We tell a great story. It's compelling, and you always know it's going to be a 5-star match.
Since the Sorceress Vita Lim will have to make their return to the promo world, we'll have to SME. Oh, boy.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Vita and the Sorceress will make their return. They've been on a hiatus. They actually retired for some time because of some personal issues.
Dante and Elijah should be tag champs this year. You guys went for one of them. I do remember that. Had a tough time with the Reunited Nation. I do remember that one. That was a good fight. Let's see.
But that's something I do believe that we could do. Me and Elijah, we've talked so much. We have that chemistry now that we could become tag champs this year.
Very well could. I'm going to go in the word association here. I'm going to bring up some names. You can give your thoughts. If you want to give a story, by all means. Let's start with Mama Purge.
Mama Purge, probably one of the most female promo artists who's improved. Like I said a countless times from last year to now. If there was a most improved female promo artist, Mama Purge gets that 100%. The son of Purge, came in having to sort of match what he does because they're related. She already knows what her son does, what he is in this industry, so she wants to try to match it. So Mama Purge is great. Mama Purge is a fighter. I had to face Mama Purge for that Fight Night Championship. Probably one of the hardest promos I've done because I see Mama Purge as like a sister, and it's like I have to do this, but I don't want to, but I got to put aside personal and business aspects.
Yeah. Mama does better than her son, honestly, just saying. Wow. Yeah, in some cases, I will go with that. I think it depends on the mood and the promo.
It does.
But yeah. That is definitely a good point there. Speaking of which, let's go talk about the PUA. What's your thoughts about that whole situation?
So PUA I've been a part of for quite some time. I debuted when they were having their Royal Rumble honoring Ivan Rage. And it's been off and on over in POA and PPA. There's some times where I'll feel like I have the better promo, or I'll know I have the better promo, but it won't come out that way. And there's multiple times where I'm not the only one that feels it. Other people feel it like maybe something's holding something against me or something I didn't know I did. But it's also it all depends on who the judge.
PUA is pretty much the Promo Unity Alliance.
Yeah, WGP Foundation.
Right, all that. Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about it being pretty much disintegrated, no longer being?
It's weird because it was perfectly fine, and then just like that one thing happening, it completely just tore it apart. It was shock. Like no one expected that to happen, and no one expected the outcome to be, okay, this alliance that's been going on, that's been doing great, is now just gone.
Right.
But you still have WGP, you still have Foundation, which I compete in both. I love both places. I've been treated fairly in both places. They've both given me opportunities to showcase my skill and showcase my talent.
Gimmick matches.
Oh my God.
Your thoughts on that?
I've probably, like, gimmick matches itself, the one that I enjoy the most is gimmick swap matches. And I've probably had one of the most entertaining ones in VOH for my debut at the Boiler Room when it was Dante Black versus the Purge. This is a gimmick swap. I had the black hoodie. I had the burnt makeup. I did the impersonation. The one that only the Purge. And everyone loved it. Still one of my favorite gimmick swap matches forever, but I know there's other gimmick matches out there. Because
here's something, and this was brought up by Vita here. I like this. Too many companies have biased judges. That's why I say to certain companies, haha, most can't handle my mouth, LMFAO. So judges, is there a certain place that you like to promo more than others?
Right now, certain places like to promo more than others is judge-wise has to be it'd be between Foundation and then SME.
SME. Do you feel like they get your gimmick more and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, like SME and Foundation, like they've been there from the start, so they know what I was trying to do. They know when I tried to adapt, when I try to evolve, and like Foundation gives you your feedback after everything else. They do your scoring. SME does the same thing, except they do the scoring and the feedback right after the promos are played on screen. They don't wait to post it. They do it live. So you can tell the judging, because you can tell it's different judges in the way it's either written, the wording of it, or how they are saying it. It's not the same judge over and over again. You know that it's going to be fair.
Yeah, and that's a big positive. A lot of people feel like judges are against them, and this is the catch-22 for me. You got certain places that don't use promo artists, like HSP. They'll use people from professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. They have no bias. They don't know you, but sometimes people feel like there's bias there. And then you go to other places, then you promo, and it's judged by promo artists, where you could have gotten an argument with the judge 20 minutes prior in another locker room. They're going to watch your match, and they're like, fuck this guy.
Exactly. Like,
it does happen like that. People got to understand, locker rooms, they're a good thing. You're going to have conversation, but you got to watch what you say sometimes.
Exactly, because there could be a combustible situation where, like, sort of like what I felt like with a couple matches I've had in PPA. I've had some combustible situations with matches not going through or not being able to show on the show, and then some where I've been forgotten. Like my whole promo's been forgotten, or my score hasn't been put up on anything. And
Let's get to this.
Some people, like, I've had multiple people come here and be like, "You're being screwed. You're being robbed of what you're doing." I'm like, well, I sort of sometimes I think that because, there was a heated conversation right before.
Right. Yeah, we're getting all these. Oh, this is a good one because you are the right person to ask this. How many E-Feds are too many for one to be in? I think you're at least at 8, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a couple more.
Yeah, a lot less than what I
one.
used to. A lot less than what I used to be in. I used to be in probably about around 16 different feds. So like I was almost like the Kenzo Blackheart of the E-Fed world.
No, I wouldn't put you that bad. No, you were good. Jesus, don't put yourself down.
Like I was in a lot. I was in like between 16 to 20, but now like 8. Like to me, it all depends. It's different. Like how much can you handle? How much stress?
That's where I caught it.
Just watch my
intro.
My intro has every single fed that I promo in, and that's me showing respect to where I promo, having the different shout outs for it. Yeah, his 47 personalities for every single fed he's in. But like,
how you doing, Jocelyn?
It all depends on how many can you handle? How much stress can you handle? Can you handle this many deadlines? Because some can be on the same day. Like you'd have like 6 promos due one day. Do you have the time to do that efficiently without it seeming like you're repeating the same thing for different feds? Like making it different so it's not too overstressed. You don't feel like you have so much anxiety where it's like, oh, I have to get this done, I have to get this done, and then I don't have time for anything in my personal life.
Yeah, it can be very difficult to do. I'm going to move into some rapid fire questions. If you got any questions, by all means, throw them up there. I will try to get them answered. Let's go with this. Places that you want to promo that you haven't been to yet. Is there any place out there?
There's WKP, which I've been spectating for a while. Heart and Soul, I've actually been on a page for, I think, almost a year now, but I haven't done anything there whatsoever. And the one I actually got into the one I was spectating and wanted to be a part of was VOH.
Yeah, and now you're a part of that.
Exactly. So I was able to get that accomplished, but those over 2 would be probably the only ones that I see.
Yeah. So how do you handle running and competing? That's a big one there. That's a big tough one.
So there's times where I'll be running VPW alongside Vita. But there's also times where I'll step back. Like what I am right now in VPW, I'm a competitor. I took my ownership hat and I've set it on the side because I want to try to push people so we can get them to want to promo more or want to put in more effort. Because you get those people where they put in the minimum just to get where they need to go. I want to see people
30-second hype. That's it. Leave me alone.
Exactly. I've legit had that where someone has came on for 30 seconds or someone Radio Demon or Evan Johnson, his intro used to be 2 minutes. He had a 2-minute intro, the full song from Hasman Hotel. Yeah. And it was a 2.5-minute promo time limit for a Rumble. He did 30 seconds for the promo.
I mean, does anybody not realize that we usually fast forward to where we can watch the promo or the hype? We don't usually listen to the intro every time.
That's why my intros are no longer than 30 seconds. Anything else,
right? That's about the thing.
It's too much.
Disqualifiers.
We did that. So the way VPW does our judging, do our judging, but to make it so it's more interesting, instead of just having, oh, this person was this score and this, and here's your feedback. We, based on our judging who wins and who loses, we actually write storylines for it to tell like a match going on based on what the judge's score was. And with that match, it was worse than getting disqualified.
Yeah. Here you go. Most controversial moment in the promo world for you. since you've been doing this?
Most controversial. That's a tough one. I've seen quite a few controversial moments. like what just happened with Bones and Shady. That's controversial, but I know a lot of people are gonna say there's been a lot of controversy around.
Well, there has. There's
a
been
lot
a ton.
or anything that Josh Byers has put out just because of who he is or the way he promos.
Oh, here we go. I like this one. This is a good question here. Opinions on out of character comments.
I think it's disrespectful when you're doing a promo. You're in character. You are your character. Like, I am Dante Black. I'm not Azrael. I am not Drew. I am Dante Black. So I always keep everything in character. If I am there and it is out of character, then I think it's disrespectful. Every time I see out of character, automatically, to me, I disqualify them. Because there's professionalism and then there's just being ignorant, not caring. Right. Out of character comments should be done personally, in inbox or in locker room if you're in an IC/OOC locker room, not during a promo, because that also confuses the judges, confuses the viewers, and be like, okay, wait, are they actually going personal or was this planned? You can't tell.
And everybody wants to go to that fine line right there. Everybody wants to dance on that all day long. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that. Let's see what we got here. Biggest problem in the promo world. What problem is out there that you think could be fixed?
The biggest problem for me in the promo world is that everyone is focused on winning. That all they care about is, a lot of people care about is the wins or loses. If they win, they're happy. If they lose, they're upset or they're salty and they beat themselves up. To me, this whole thing has been, the full 2 years I've been doing it, it's about fun. It's about entertaining who watches them. About me putting the best I can to put out a good product, to tell a great story, not to go out there and completely eviscerate my opponent or make them feel like crap, wanting to beat them down.
Yeah. Too many damn heels. I would go with that too. Too many damn heels.
There's way too many heels.
Nobody wants to be the blowjob baby face out there. Everybody's all about that heel deal. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I mean, and some people will tell me that the promo world is just a big shit-talking contest. Do you agree with that?
On some aspects, I do. Like, there's some places like Defiant, for example. Like, I've been part of my feedback. I've brought up some wrestling stuff, and it's been used as why I've lost. It's just shit talk. They want to see you verbally beat down your opponent. They want to see what you can come up with, who can talk shit the most and destroy their character the most, which I get it. People do different things. So it really depends on exactly where you go to promo in what company, if it's shit talk or telling a story and having a back and forth with your opponent instead of just like, oh, you're shit. You suck. You can't do anything right. No, it's like, it depends where you go.
And here we go. Final question here. I've asked this to Elijah. I'm going to ask this to you. Cody or Roman Reigns? Who's winning that match at WrestleMania 40?
Cody Rhodes.
Why Cody Rhodes? You think he's finishing the story?
I think he's finishing the story, and I read a lot into matches. I've been watching WWE for quite some time. Once I saw Solo get involved at WrestleMania and Cody lost, I called it because the way they built it up, I'm like, they're going to pull a John Cena versus The Rock. Have him lose 1 year, win the Rumble, and then face him again. And that's exactly what happened. He lost to Roman. I called it that he was going to go in the Rumble. He was going to win it again. And there's too many aspects that you can just look into. The fans want it. WWE has stated multiple times they want to bring back the winged eagle design.
Yes.
And one of the people who helped design it was Cody's dad, who gave some designs for it. So there's no other person better to bring it back than, of course, his son, Cody Rhodes.
I'll definitely agree. Well, that's the end of our show here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Dante Black, for coming out here, talking to us about VPN. Make sure you check out their page. Go see them. Go compete. My next guest will be on here this Tuesday. I will be having Sergeant Havoc, the current Revolution World Heavyweight Champion. Till then, I'll see you then. Oh, hold on. Look. Yes, Meme Elite. Love you, brother. Love you, brother.